Morning. The time has come to get our water system up and running properly. So what have we got at the minute? We've got these storage tanks here, which I fill manually from the bucket. You see a yellow bucket down there. That the rain, falls on the caravan, down the gutter, fills in that bucket, and then I come and fill these buckets up. This one here is currently the one that we have the pump connected to, so that we've added a filter on top of that. It's just a mosquito net doubled in two, so it gets rid of the leaves and bugs and stuff. It's not drinking water, and it's a temporary solution while we get this up and running. So I'll go over quickly what we're going to do, but I'll go over it in depth, in detail, slightly later on in the video. So these four are going to be natural filter buckets. So at the minute they're just water storage. I'm going to be adding rocks and stuff into them to filter the water. So there's four of them, 4 stages, or 3 stages in the storage tank. We've got a UV filter which is going to go on the end to doubly kill anything that's in there, and we've got a new pump. I'll show you in a minute what happened when we had the old pump. That was an enjoyable evening. So that's what we're going to be plumbing in, and at the end we should be able to have drinking water from the stream that we've got up the hill. The very first job is going to be me running this up the hill, which is going to be fun. My first plan was to collect. Well, actually, my first plan is to do what I'm going to be doing. Then I thought about having to dig in 300 meters worth of pipe all the way up the hill by hand because I can't get a digger up there, and I was like, oh my god. I was trying to find another solution to it. Considered collecting the rainwater off the barn behind me because it's huge, but 2 problems with that. In fact, I'll go through that later on. Why aren't we doing the rainwater? But my second idea was to collect it from here, which is where I have been collecting it from for our temporary supply, but it's got the runoff from the road behind me, and I think I'm just going to be fighting against trying to get that. I mean, I'm sure it will be filtered, it will be clean. You put good enough filters on it, then it does clean any water. But do you really want? There's going to be some pollutants in that from the road that I'd rather not be trying to fight with. So once I'd gone from supply to supply to supply, I in the end just thought, you know what, I'm just going to have to run this up the hill because it's the cleanest possible source. I've been up there to see where it actually comes from, and it's it just comes from the top. There's a kind of pool at the top that just flows down in a stream. So we're gonna take it from there, and we'll tackle the other problems as we get there. And pray that my boy hasn't put gravel down the ends of these, because his favourite game at the minute is put things down things, and when you've got loads of plumbing pipes hanging around, must seem like a play part to him because he loves doing it, but if there's a bit of stone stuck in here, that's going to prove rather annoying. Right, so don't forget your caps. That's that. I didn't think that you needed PTFE tape for plastic fittings. I thought it was really only for brass. I didn't put PTFE tape on the bucket when I did that last, and I wished I had. So I'm gonna put some on here because I learnt my lesson. You in? Yeah, probably. Right, got the correct flow direction. This is going to be here. And this, I'm going to go through what this is later on, but this is the inlet at the other end, so I need to make that a little bit bigger and then put our pipe work on the other end, and then we'll start rolling it up the hill. Right, you go in there, rubber seal on the inside. I could add silicone, probably should add silicone in fact, but I just don't have time. This is the only clear day that we've had for a long time, and okay, that's tight. Got all the bits. I'm gonna have to remember to take PTFE tape up with this, another stop end. Can you see what that is? That'll take 25mm pipe, and I'll explain where this goes when we get up there. Right, we're clear. I'm not really sure of the best plan here, because this stuff's always better to unroll rather than unspin, and it's not that light. Okay, well, that's the end that's staying here, so I suppose we should put that under something. Okay. Ah, that's just going to get wet, isn't it? I think we'll set you down there. We'll go and have a look. We want to go to that stream there. I wonder if we go, I think we just beeline. I think we beeline for that. I'm not sure, I need to go over there and have a look. Where does the term beeline come from? I feel like it should be a line, because isn't it, first choice. Beeline feels like plan B. I could definitely wade across there if I had wellies. My wellies have split, so I don't have wellies. Sometimes I find it's really easy to forget that we're just animals. I was getting all like, oh, what am I going to do? I've got cracked wellies. And my boots aren't waterproof like this, but oh, that's cold. I just took the socks off, and you're like, duh. Oh, now this is all wet. Why did I throw it in? Because I wanted to splash. I reckon if we pin this, what do you think? Am I going to get it under that rock? Can't see why I wouldn't. I think the last time that I had water flow over my wellies was when I was a kid. It's a shame, isn't it? That bit pinned under. I think it'll sink a bit better when it's got water in it. There's another rock over there. Let's go and have a go. Let's go and have a go with that. While we're here and while I'm in the water, I'm considering, well, I'm not considering, I've already made movements to make this a reality, but I'm going to put a water wheel somewhere on here just for a temporary fix for our power, because I've got a small alternator arriving, a little generator as in a spinny motor. I've got some bike wheels, we're going to put bike wheels together, make some fins, put this on the side, and I'm going to put it somewhere in here, but I'm not sure on the science of water wheels, and I don't want to go to the internet because it'll ruin my idea. And I think as soon as you go to the internet, you start doing what everybody else does. And what if your idea, I'm not saying it will necessarily be better, but what if it might be something somebody else hasn't done before? Yes, it's a water wheel, but there'll be small bits. But I don't know if, you see here that rock and that rock, it's kind of funneling all the river, not all, there's a bit there, but that's shallower, funneling it in here. And when I'm standing in it, there is a fair stream here, like I can feel it pushing. The deeper you go, the more it pushes. So I'm not sure if it's more important to have depth or if it's more important to have speed or width. I'm just not sure, but all right. I suppose I should continue. I kind of want to just paddle around now. Alright, so I've got it up here. I wanted it there, but it hasn't reached. And when something like that happens, I always listen to the universe and just think maybe it should be a little bit further down. So I'm going to go get the inlet. I'm going to bring that back up here. I'm going to walk back down and check that we've got the pipe roughly in the correct direction, because you know I've sort of snaked it up here. And it is roughly where I want it, but I want to check it stayed where it's supposed to. And then we'll come back up and put some water in it. I can see from here that we are on a positive incline. So I'm higher than the caravan. So maybe. But I won't have to go much higher if I do. So I'm going to plumb that in and then we'll turn the stopcock at the other end and see what happens. Water comes through, then great. If not, I'll just have to add another couple of meters further up. But I think that's the worst of it done. At least I don't have to lug up another 100. Well, I checked the label, it's 150 metre roll that, not 100 metres. So got us a bit further than I thought. Okay, we've carried an extra roll of pipe, although it's only 25 metres this one, so glad I had that lying around. Got our inlet, got a coupling, some stuff in my pocket, so I'm hoping I haven't forgotten anything. I wasn't all that sure that we do have a positive height difference here. When you're looking across from a hill, it's kind of hard to tell if you're higher or lower. I could start with levels and all that kind of rubbish, but I don't want too much pressure on this, because if I have too much and then all that's operating the open and close is a ball valve, it could end up kind of pushing its way through. So I think I'm probably just going to take it up the top of, let me put some stuff down. Luckily this stuff's blue, so I'm not going to lose it in the grass. Pliers. So I've got it to here, but up to there really isn't a very long run. And I think I'm going to get quite a lot of head difference in it. So I think we'll go up to the top of that and we'll test it, we'll plumb it in and see if we get any flow the other side and what kind of pressure it is. I think if I add stuff I could plumb it where it is, but for some reason I feel like I'd rather take it up and then remove stuff rather than plumb it and then have to add bits. So we'll get on with that. That black pipe was a bit harder to uncoil than the other one. It really didn't want to stay in shape, as in it wanted to stay in a coil. It didn't want to unravel, so the way I should do it is I should probably leave it for a few days for it to settle into shape, but I want to test it and see if we're at the right height, and then I'll leave it, and then I'll probably come back up here and reconnect this end. But this bit is really where I think this system is going to be, or at least this is the bit I've thought of. I'm going to move somewhere up here because I'm worried that you can't hear me just there by that stream. Oh, it's nice and clear up here. I just got a moth land on my head. Right, let's have a look what we've got. Full pocket, so that's what we've got. So this is a rainwater gutter drain point, so that goes like that. This bit's where your gutter sort of hangs over, just drains in there, and then you connect the bottom of this to your soil pipe underground. You probably never see this bit under here, you just see that top grill. But it was my theory that the way you normally do this is you buy a Coanda screen, which is a very, very, very expensive, £1,000 expensive grill filter thing that just the water flows over it and then flows in, but it kind of brushes, the idea is it goes on an angle like that, the water flow comes down like this and brushes off anything that's going to get into the pipe. It's like a self-cleaning filter. But they're very expensive, and I will be using that for the hydro power, because that's important that you have good flow and nothing in it, because it goes straight to the turbine. But I really didn't want to spend a lot of money on the inlet, and I'm not sure what other people do. The neighbour says his gets clogged a lot. He doesn't have a Coanda screen, and I wonder if a lot of people just kind of bury the pipe in the water, hope for the best. I've heard that some people bury a pipe and then they drill holes on the underneath of it, and that's how you do it. You can get a pump, like a borehole pump. When I've been looking on the internet, most people, or most pumps and products seem to be sold for boreholes or wells, which means people are just digging down and then pumping up. What we're doing is collecting it from a pre-existing stream. The other reason I'm doing this, and this is quite important and has been quite important and has shaped every decision that I've made as far as water collection and water power goes, I don't want to change the stream. If you dam it, create a pool, then it's fairly straightforward because you've got a nice pool to collect it from. I really don't want to be messing with things here, because what right have I got as a human to start messing around with nature? I feel like we already mess it around far too much, and that's part of the reason why all of the flooding that we saw is a problem, because we changed the water courses. We haven't on the stream. The stream would have still flooded, but the major problems were caused by the road that runs through the middle, and the water coming down from that side of the hill hit the road and then backed up in all the pipes we'd put there, ran off the road, washed up some of our hardcore drive away, caused issues further down. So it's really us messing around with everything that causes these problems. I don't want to get into that. There are some things where you can't help it. You know, you have to dig foundations. You have to do some things, but if you can be sensible about how you do it, I feel like that's the right way to go. So that's why I'm trying to come up with a solution that doesn't need me to dam the water. I'm going to move a few stones, but I don't want to mess with it any more than perhaps, you know, a strong flow of water might mess with it by moving stones. So that's why I'm planning on using this. I don't know if it's going to work. In fact, I'm almost thinking it probably will still block. I was considering putting some mosquito mesh over the top of that to try and filter it, but let me see if I can disassemble this, and I'll show you in a bit more like why did I decide this over other products. So I'm going to put this in a waterfall, like a little waterfall, and if you see in there, the outlet is actually not the same place as the inlet. This bit, if this will come out, I bet it won't, will it? Oh, it might do. Hang on, let me wedge this between my legs. There we go. Okay, we've got it apart. So that's what it's like inside. Now, what I'm hoping is that all the sediment and everything will just kind of sit at the bottom of there, because the outlet is further up. Now, that bit is just, you know, a grill. I mean, I might even be able to do away with that, but I'm going to keep it, saving the big stones. And then this is the inlet, which stops the, like, it means that the water comes, I'm trying to do this two-handed. So if I put that there, that goes in there. So the water has to go down and then back up and then out of here. So I'm hoping that means that any water comes down here, the sediment will collect at the bottom and then the water will come out there. So, and this was like, I don't know, 10 quid, maybe 20. Whereas a commander screen is 1,000, like I've said. And if it doesn't work, I can use it for gutters. What this is, so this is, you buy this comes as that, like as that is. You put 110mm pipe in there, yeah, and that's gone. This is 110mm blanking plate. So that plastic, brown plastic bit is just a blanking plate, which you put to stop things coming out or in. And I've just put a 25mm tank connector on here so that I push that in like that, and then that's our outlet. So I'm hoping this is going to work, but it's my idea, so I haven't seen if it works. I haven't seen anybody else do it. I'm sure they have, but I haven't seen. I don't know if this is going to work, is what I'm saying. But we're going to give it a go. I'm sure it will work now because it just collects water, right? Whether it works in 3 months' time is another case, but we'll fix this first problem and then we'll see what problems come up in the future. Okay, I think I've got it sort of working as I'd like to. When that's on and it's not feeding water, the water will just hit that, fill up and then flow over. At least that's my plan. The reason I changed it from, I'll go up here in case you can't hear me. The reason I changed it from the first position, I don't know if you saw it, it was a bit better located, but the water was sort of coming up and out. And because this black pipe's not very bendy, I was wondering whether the very first bit of pipe would end up going up by maybe a metre and then down. And there's no pressure here. I mean, it's gushing out there, but I don't think it'll be quite enough pressure to then push it up the pipe. So I really want the first bit to just come out level or down a bit. So that's why I repositioned that big stone at the bottom. Had to find a waterfall that was deep enough to fit the gutter thing in there. So I'm going to plumb this in now, and then we'll run back down and open the valve and see what happens. I'm going to have to come back up here and redo the pipe work because, like I said, it needs to settle a little bit before I know that I've got enough to run it down the route I want. But I want to get it plumbed in just for now to see if I've got the correct height so it does actually flow out the other end. Right, grab all my tools. I think I've only got one. The rubbish is already in my pocket. Head down for a test. Might have to bring a heat gun back up here to try and persuade. Oh, I can't bring a heat gun. Now I'm going to bring the power up here. I'll just sit on it and warm it like a chicken and its egg. I think it'd be too much to hope for a sunny day to warm it up. It was this bit just here that I was mainly worried about, because when I just did it, it coiled up like that. Now it's lying flat, or flatter, so we'll have to hope. Fairly sure this is gonna run water at the other end, but the pipe's a bit tangled, and you probably saw, but the pipe was trying to pull the brown gutter adapter away because it's really stiff pipe it was trying to pull. Trying to pull it out, so I'm gonna have to find I've got some I don't know what you call it. It's like this kind of metal roll with holes in that you can drill and clamp things pretty much to anything, but that means I've got to drill into rock at the back, and I think it's roots that was at the back of that, so I'm not sure I've got any rock. Anyway, I'll test it and then we'll see what problems arise next. I'm not expecting this to come out straight away because there's 175 meters worth of pipe to. Ooh. Let's probably tighten that on. What do you reckon? There was pressure built up there. Do you think it's going to fire that far? That far? I'd be surprised if it fired anywhere that far. It's just more than a dribbler. I want to check in the end to see the valve's open, but it's going to spray out in a minute, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Aha, whoosh. Okay, maybe that's going to take a few more seconds than me standing here showing you it all. I'm sure most of you would be screaming at the camera about insulating all the pipe. And oh, we've got some air bubbles. Don't know what that is. Most of you will be screaming at the camera about insulating the pipe. It's going to freeze, digging it in and all that kind of stuff. But I spoke to the farmer and he said, because I said I was going to collect the water from the road side, like I said, and let me turn this off. He said I should collect it up the top, and I was like, yeah, but I can't dig in 200 meters worth of pipe. It's going to be, and he was like, oh, you won't have to, it self-buries. I was like, what do you mean? He said the grass, all the like really big marsh grass, he said it dies back in the winter and self-buries the pipes, which after he said it, I was like, yeah, you know what, all of the fencing I'm trying to take out, or all of these lengths of pipes that I'm discovering, there's some black pipe that's just been left around, it's not connected to anything, has been buried. And I was like, God, did somebody go around here and bury it all? But it seems like it dies back and self-buries. So he seemed to say that I won't have a problem with freezing because it will self-bury. Now, obviously, the areas where it comes up here to this, the areas down by the river, where it goes down and into the river and out the river, the areas where it's being collected, you know, that gutter bit we've just put in, will absolutely freeze. So I bought some pool noodles, you know, those insulation bits, so that I can wrap all the bits that aren't going to be self-buried. And if it does freeze, I always have the backup of collecting the rainwater, as I've been doing. I'm going to go through and rake the grass over the top of it, because at the minute I've almost compacted the grass underneath, so we end up with, like, you know, I'll go and kind of scoop it back up so that it flattens over the top. And the reason I've rushed this, I've been doing this job whilst I should really have been doing other bits, is because, I don't know if you can tell, but the hill's turning brown. A lot of the leaves have fallen already, and I'm worried that I'm missing the opportunity for the grass to die back over it and cover it back up. So I thought I'd do that today whilst we had one dry day, rather than doing the other jobs that I'm supposed to be getting on with. Oh man, did you see where I threw my gloves? I'll give them a wash now. Bummer. Yeah, okay, so we've got that. There is flowing water. It's enough pressure to open the ball valve and fill the tanks. The pump that we've got will deal with the pressure that we need for the caravan. So that's, I'm not concerned about the pressure that we've got here as far as you know, running the taps and stuff, because the pump creates the pressure. We just need enough pressure to fill the tanks at a slow rate. We don't need it to be fast either, because it, you know, we've got a whole one of these in reserve. So I'm going to cut that video here on the water, and then we will, in the next video, do all the plumbing for these 4 natural filters. We'll put all the natural media, I call it natural media, it's sand and rocks. We'll put all the sand and rocks inside the barrels, and we'll get that all plumbed up. And then if there's enough time, I'll do the pump and filters on top of that as well. If there's not enough time, we'll do part 2 with the barrels, and we'll do part 3 with the plumbing, you know, the electrical plumbing, if you like, the pumps and the filters and stuff. So if you like this kind of content, come join us the next one. It'd be nice to see you there, and we'll see you then.